Hello, everybody.
Wow.
We are back.
We only release episodes once a year.
It's exclusive. But
Welcome back.
thanks for our listeners for coming back. You're gonna find this
Listeners.
episode very interesting. We've changed formats. We're now a ultra conservative, hardcore right wing conspiracy theory podcast. We'll only be talking about conspiracy theories that affect the right wing. So, Tarun, you had a
Yes.
theory that Obama and Hillary are aliens, and they're trying to turn everybody into frog people. Why don't you talk
Uh
about that?
no, it's about black people.
Oh, black, sorry. Jeez. All right, we're off the rails.
Well, nobody listens to this anyways, so it doesn't matter.
Cut to your 2036 presidential run. We found this podcast.
That wasn't me.
Fake news.
All right, so if anybody's been listening to this, I've been ranting without you past couple episodes. But thought we talk about the Avengers because it's coming out.
It
And
is. It is the ultimate. Supposed to be the ultimate Avengers superhero movie.
I'm not, I guess I'm slightly above average comic book person, but Shawn is like super above average. So
What are you
I
trying to
want.
say?
Actually, I think you know more. You know way more
You think I'm a nerd?
about comic books. Yep, that's what I'm saying.
That's right.
But no, I actually have a lot of questions, which I'd love to ask you about. Because starting with this wave of comic book movies that have, I don't know, just kind of oversaturated the market. Like I don't know, when did this all start? Because I feel like these comic book movies have just, normal movies without dealing with people in capes are out there, but these movies have just, you know, overflowed the marketplace. Like when did this all start? Take us back, Shawn.
Let's go back to 1934. No, it's yeah, sure. Why don't we start with Superman, the original? In the 70s, they finally had a budget that could sustain a movie of special effects that could make Superman realistic. And that was the tagline for the movie. You will believe a man can fly. And for that time, uh, those special effects were pretty good. And so it really comes
That
down to budget.
that was also
Um,
the tagline for Cheech and Chong. What's up, man? Flying.
Actually, Cheech was the first one to quote use that phrase.
Wait, so Superman was a huge hit.
Oh yeah,
So how come after that movie? I mean, was there like how come other superhero movies didn't come out like Batman and
well,
all that stuff?
Batman
Like
came. So Superman was 77, 78, I think, and then Batman was 89. A lot of it has to do with legal stuff, planning with the studios, and but still, it just all comes down to budget and vision. Uh, I don't think anybody thought Tim Burton could pull off Batman, but he made something original and unique that people still love. I wouldn't say it's actually that high of a budget. Special effects weren't that amazing, but just the vision of it was really good. But
and
as you can,
Batman.
yeah, and Batman. But as you can see, there's a law of diminishing returns with these movies, with both Superman and Batman, where the sequels just did not live up to the originals. Story wise, budget wise, something just happens in the maybe it's
Yeah, because I mean, look,
studio.
I was a kid when those movies came out, but like I felt like those movies kind of sparked something, and then for a few years these sequels came out, and then these comic book movies disappeared. While today, yeah, these sequels come out, but they just keep coming. Like it's not just one, I guess, IP. It's multiple characters coming at you every year.
Yeah, and that's just because these are stories that are basically storyboarded for how many years the comic book has been out. If it's a classic character, they're going to have 30 years of storyboards, which means, the comic panels and stories and dialogue with characters that just has to be translated to the screen. If you take the latest superhero, if you can call him a superhero, Hellboy, uh, that was a pretty decent hit when the first movie came out. And that's because of the vision of the director and because of what he did with the budget, the special effects, the makeup. It was all amazing. Now, cut
Who's the
to
director? The foreign what's his name?
Guillermo del Toro, who won the
Right.
Oscar for Shape of Water. Cut to now, they did a remake of Hellboy with a different actor, different crew, different director, and apparently it was pretty bad and no one went to see it. So even though if you've got a superhero, it still needs the right vision, the right budget, the right actors, everything for everything to go right. And that's what's amazing about these Marvel movies is that the guy in charge of it, Kevin Feige, has done all of that. He's found the right directors, the right stories, the right actors to.
Who is Kevin Feige exactly? Like, what is his role?
So he is the main producer of all of these Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. He's the one who started off with finding with start. So the story is Marvel, the comic book company, was going bankrupt. They needed to make money, so they were selling off their properties to make movies to other studios. They sold off Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, X-Men, and those movies came out by different studios with different degrees of success. So Kevin Feige was
Imagine he's like this, like a 60-year-old kid in the basement. They put him in charge of everything. It's like teenage boy.
He is a huge comic book fan. He started off on the
Right.
X-Men movies as a junior producer, and I was just reading an interview with him today where he was saying he was telling the head producers of X-Men, look, actually this is how Magneto would take apart a gun in the comic books, and they'd be like, yeah, we can't do that, so we're just going to do it our way. And he'd be like, I can't wait to have a budget where I can do it my way. So he eventually got to the point where he was working with the offshoot of the Marvel's company movie production. And so they said, let's start with a C-list comic book property, Iron Man, who wasn't as huge as Spider-Man or the X-Men. And, they took a leap and they found the right director, Jon Favreau. They took a leap in hiring Robert Downey Jr., who had lots of problems beforehand, but was in a comeback. And they didn't even have a proper script. They were just shooting as they went along. So just for all those things to go right.
What was the studio?
Marvel started their own studio.
So they put him in charge of the Marvel studio as the okay. And they had all the intellectual property because they owned it. Marvel.
So they didn't sell off, Captain America. They didn't sell off Thor. That's why they were able to make those movies.
But X-Men's part of a different studio.
Fox had the rights for.
Are you eating?
Oh
God!
Fox had the rights.
You lucky. This episode is brought to you by Lucky Charms.
Remember, kids, eat your Lucky Charms. 5 bowls a day. Lucky Charms.
So that's why X-Men series has gone in the toilet and Marvel's keeps coming.
Well, X-Men was the movie that kind of started everything off with superheroes because they were able to bring those mutant powers into real, or put it on screen in a realistic way.
I remember I saw the X-Men after First Class. I forget what the name of it was, and it was
Apocalypse?
like with it was like
no,
horrible.
Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past was good. Sorry, that was good.
Yeah.
But the one right after that, or at in between, I don't know. The one with Apocalypse was like, man, this sucks. I don't know who made this.
Well, that's the difference between Marvel and the other studios. Kevin Feige has made sure that when he gets a director, they put their own unique spin on it, but it still looks like a Marvel movie, while the studios still go back to one director with a vision. So Fox just let Bryan Singer do his thing for a few movies.
They should bring back the guy who made the original Superman from 1978.
Richard
That's
Donner,
a
I
bad
mean,
effect. Yeah.
yeah, he's still a great
Bring him
director.
like green screens and everything like that. The way Superman flies.
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the way Superman flies in those movies. It's still pretty good.
No, but just like the way it looks.
You're thinking about the Spider-Man live-action TV show from the 1970s. That's
Oh,
the
that was great.
that's the aesthetic you're thinking about.
So
Where
Shawn sent me a clip of like the Spider-Man, and literally it's like an Asian guy in a Spider-Man suit, like crawling around, jumping on tables and stuff. It's pretty funny.
basically it's like instead of climbing on the wall, he's climbing a ladder.
There was a Fantastic Four movie too, right, in the 70s, or was that the 80s?
That was the mid
Not the new
80s.
one.
Yeah, I know,
The
I know.
old
So
one.
Richard Corman is a B movie director. He had the rights for Fantastic Four for a long time,
Right.
and so he had to make that movie in order to keep the rights. So he just shot
Mm.
it on the fly, low budget. There's actually a whole documentary about the making of it.
So what happened with the Fantastic Four movies when they came out in the 2000s?
You know what? I still have a pretty good affection for the first one. Um, I thought they were okay made. You know, nothing amazing, but still pretty fun to watch. I think Fox owned those as well. And again, it just comes down to vision. You know, they had a very comedic tone, maybe not enough seriousness stuff. I didn't think their Doctor Doom was very good or very believable. But they cast Jessica Alba, who was obviously just like hot property at the time. They're like, all right, we need to get guys in the seats. We need to cast this ultra hot girl in it.
Right.
But otherwise, I thought so. Actually, the Captain America, Chris Evans, played Human Torch, and that just goes to show you how good of an actor he is. From
I didn't even know that he played Human Torch, honestly.
Yeah, so he played this young cocky guy who turns into flames, and then from that he becomes this dedicated soldier, uh, who wants to uphold liberty and freedom.
I actually like the Captain America series, Winter Soldier. Like those are some great movies.
They are, yeah. Everybody says they're the best trilogy, actually.
Yeah.
You would think people would like Iron Man more, but they kind of dropped the ball on the trilogy.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of fell off like the third Iron Man. I was like, whatever.
Which is interesting
Uh,
because there are so many interesting stories about Iron Man in the comics that they didn't pursue in the movies.
Now Venom, that's the movie I can get behind.
The one true comic book movie.
Like a kids movie. Venom's talking to the guy the entire time.
He calls him a piece of what is it? He calls him a pussy.
Hey, you pussy. Yeah. It's hilarious.
See, again, that's what happens when the studios are like, well, we know better than comic books.
Hollywood ruins everything. I mean, it really does, man. They just put their stamp on it, and
Well, I mean, it depends on who's in charge.
yeah, who's in charge? It changes every 6 months. Um, so this Avengers movie. So you have tickets,
I do.
opening night tickets.
I couldn't get it. It's for the next day at 12 p.m.
Are you serious? You couldn't get?
No, opening
When
night,
was
Thursday night.
sold out in Boston everywhere?
Yeah.
Well,
The app
how are you,
crashed to get tickets.
how are your seats for the next day?
I think they're pretty good. I'm sitting on the lap of some fat guy.
Are you gonna dress up?
I'm gonna dress up as all the characters.
Good.
I got a Captain America helmet, Iron Man glove, Thor hammer. I'm gonna paint my face green.
So for people who don't follow these movies as much, I mean, that Avenger movie kind of wraps up everything into one, right? I mean, that's pretty much what it is. So what happens now after this movie's done?
So they still have lots of other things going on. So this is called Phase One was the first Avengers movies: Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Incredible Hulk. Phase Two was the Guardians of the Galaxy, Doctor Strange. Phase Three was like Captain Marvel, Black Panther. So now they have a Phase Four going on, and they're going to introduce the Eternals, which is a group of people who live in space.
I never heard these people, the Eternals.
Yeah.
It's like, was it a big part of?
Well, in the comics, Thanos was an Eternal, but he rejected his community and killed everybody. Or tried to kill everybody.
Wait, like the Watcher and stuff?
No, that's separate.
Okay.
So so in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, there's these people called the Kree. These Kree experimented on humans, made them like gods, and then these gods they call themselves the Eternals. They've got all these superpowers, and they live in a moon in Saturn.
So it's based on a true story. Got it.
So this is a conspiracy theory podcast.
No, well, I wonder how those are going to do because, well, then again, I was going to say, at least with these characters like Iron Man, Spider-Man, I mean, they're kind of like in like the mainstream zeitgeist of like superheroes, but then you start throwing other like random people you never heard of. But then,
Well, that's the thing.
honestly,
They came out with Guardians of the Galaxy.
yeah, I was going to say that. I was like,
I wasn't aware of that. Apparently, they were when that first movie came out. They've had a comic book for at least 10 years, and with all those same characters, and I'd never heard of them, but because of the vision of James Gunn, he made all of those characters lovable, and you wanted to see them again.
I did hear about the raccoon though.
Rocket.
Yeah, I for some reason that was in my childhood. I remember that raccoon.
He was in. No, he wasn't. I was going to say he was in the original Infinity Gauntlet, but he wasn't.
Was he in Spider-Man at some point? Maybe I don't know.
No. You're thinking of Rocket Racer.
I can't believe you knew that. Rocket Racer.
That's who you're thinking of.
Oh, okay. Well, then I didn't know him. I'm getting confused with another super-powered raccoon.
No, he's a black kid with the rocket-powered skates.
Okay. Did he wear a raccoon mask?
He wore a costume of gold and red.
Okay. Good. No, you know what it was? I actually do remember this. And this is like super nerdy. There was like this comic book and it would like list everyone's like powers and stuff and like rate them. You remember that? It was like strength, intelligence. Like here's their SAT scores. It was like so stupid.
Iron Man got a perfect score. Thor got a 700.
No, do you remember this book? And then there's another comic book about all the people who died in the series, right? And it was like Porcupine, how he died, and it's like reading like an obituary for like kids.
I think it was called the Marvel Playbook or something like that.
Yeah.
An official handbook or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. So how do you think this final movie is going to hold up?
Yeah.
Because
they had the screening yesterday, and all the critics are basically giving it the best score they can. They're saying it's a perfect ending to all these movies. Great emotional highs, made them laugh as well. They're saying there's nothing wrong with this movie.
The Academy Award goes to Thanos for playing Thanos.
I mean, they could be nominated for best movie. I don't know. So with Lord of the Rings, each movie was nominated for an Oscar, and finally the third one won the Oscar for Return of the King.
For best movie?
Yeah,
For best screenplay?
best movie.
Oh wow. I actually didn't see. I've never seen any of the Lord of the Rings movies. I've only seen clips on YouTube.
You've seen about 5 movies.
Dude, seriously, I'm not even joking. Like, I don't know why. Even reading, like I like to read. I can't read those books.
No,
I'm not like
that's a difficult read.
it's difficult.
Yeah, it's like a whole nother language.
Yeah, I just remember trying to read it once and I couldn't. I just stopped here and like I can't do this.
That's
But
why.
people love those movies. People love. I mean, I guess sci-fi is a huge thing, and I heard that guy lost a lot of weight while he was directing that movie. Like it almost killed him when he was filming
Peter
it.
Jackson.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty healthy for him. He had all the stress, so I think he was like a stress eater. So
Mm.
instead, he just like ate yogurt and fruits. So he lost a lot of
Oh,
weight
it
there.
became healthier. Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So this movie, I'm assuming it's gonna make just a shit ton of money this weekend, and we're gonna expect
It's already made
more
it's already made
spin-offs from these
$100 million
characters.
in India for pre-ticket sales.
Wow. So what happened with these actors? I mean, are all these guys piecing out after this? Or are they gonna keep doing
I
stuff?
no idea. It's under wraps. No one knows what's happening to their characters. I think Captain America is done, which is a shame because there's definitely a couple more movies I like to see him do.
Is Robert Downey Jr. really gonna keep doing more Iron Man movies? I guess the money keeps coming in. Why not? Give him a job.
Like I said, it all comes down to this storyline. Maybe they all die.
Wait, wasn't Black Panther nominated for something?
Best movie.
It won, right?
And they
Did it
didn't
win?
win.
I have no idea. I don't even follow this. I actually was hanging out with this girl. She's an actress, and she was asking about the Oscars, and I was like, I don't watch the Oscars.
Mhm.
And she's like, why? And I was like, I don't care about movies. Where I was like, oh, who won Best Picture? I feel like making a movie is everyone wins. If you make a movie, you finish it. Even if the movie sucks, man, it's so hard just to finish it. So I've never like bought into.
So what are you trying to say?
Everything's subjective. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right. But I mean,
Oh, there was an article. Okay, here's the thing. So there's an article. I didn't prepare, but so Harvey Weinstein
whatever happened to that guy?
had this
He's a good
movie.
guy.
So I forget what exact movie it was. I think it was when Saving Private Ryan came out or
Shakespeare in Love,
something.
and yeah. He
Yeah,
launched
and all the shit
he
he
launched a
did,
huge
all the
campaign.
shit he did to make
Yeah.
sure, to make sure they
Yeah.
won. It's just like, wow, the politics behind, these awards. It's sickening.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. A lot of people have that consensus where just because it wins Best Picture doesn't mean it's the Best Picture. But I do think the ones that are nominated are probably some of the best. Um, I'm a huge fan of Infinity War because it's so rewatchable. Like I've got two young nephews, like 5 and 10. They we were on a family trip. That's the only movie I had on my iPad. We watched that movie like 5 times. So it's like,
Oh,
yeah,
really?
and it's like
Wow.
it's so entertaining though. It's like you could still watch it over and over, and that's a sign I think of a great movie. Compared to Shape of Water or something. I don't think anybody's watching Shape of Water 5 times in one day.
I've never heard of Shape of Water. Is that nominated for a movie? There's a movie called Shape of Water. Who's in it?
Maybe we shouldn't talk about movies.
No, I gotta know this. Like, who's in Shape of Water?
Nobody famous. It's directed by Guillermo del Toro. Won Best Picture last year. It's about a mute cleaning lady who works in a secret government facility that's holding a fish man, and she falls in love with the fish man.
Hmm. Sounds sounds amazing. I gotta put that on my queue. Actually, I'll tell you honestly. Like I can read scripts pretty well, but when you watch stuff, it's like a different like I've read a lot of pilots this past year. It's because I like to write still, and so I can like break it down analytically, like what makes a good pilot, like all the all the check boxes of plot points, et cetera, et cetera. But then you just put that TV show Barry on my radar, and I was watching that, and there's something more, I guess, visceral when you watch a TV series. When you just watch something, you can kind of look at it from another angle, like how story works, which you can't get from reading. Which,
Right. I mean,
you
you're
know,
you're watching the final product where, the acting is there, editing is there, all the other pieces are put together. Well, if you're reading a script, you're just reading one portion of it or seeing one portion of the puzzle. Um, with a show like Barry, yeah, I mean, I'm sure the script is great, but just because the characters are so, the characters are pretty great, and the lines are pretty great.
but honestly, if I were to read that Barry pilot, I would have been like, oh, this movie's kind of slow. But honestly, the way they just, I mean, the way the actors did such a great job, like you're actually kind of emotionally invested in like, Barry's downfall in the beginning and like the world that he's in and the crazy acting where like, Henry Winkler, like they really added a lot to that pilot, made it really good and made it really enjoyable to watch. So there's like this X factor when you watch things, which I forget about. That's why I really feel like this is my theory. Like nobody can ever really predict what's going to be good or bad because there's like an X factor when you make it all, where you just don't know how it's going to turn out, even if you have the perfect script or the worst script. Like sometimes you can, shit just happens and it comes out good or bad. You just don't know at the end of the day.
Right, and that's kind of why these superhero movies should succeed because, like I said, you might have 30 to 40
Or
years.
fail.
Well, if it fails, it's because of vision. You already have
Yeah.
scripts upon scripts written about these characters. Um,
Mm.
I think let's see, what are some interesting character changes from these Marvel movies? Uh, so, like, take something like Winter Soldier. That was great because they just focused on the themes of kind of trust in the government, or trust in this governmental agency that's supposed to protect you, but is actually part of this evil group. And also, friendship and brotherhood. Steve finds out that his best friend has been turned into an assassin. So,
Yeah.
and then this is all coming from the comic books. One thing they changed was that the bad guy played by Robert Redford. He wasn't this overarching villain. He was just some guy.
Robert Redford's in the movie? No. Yeah. I all those things are great. I really like that friendship storyline between Bucky and Captain America. You
Right.
know, even even in the Avengers movies, you know that storyline's still there, and so they kind of pull you in to these characters by having these little subplots in their
Mm-hmm.
characters. So maybe that's why Captain America is appealing to me. Also, just the way like some of these fight sequences are pretty incredible. Like, dude, like when he jumped out of that elevator. I forget which movie that was
Yeah,
exactly,
Winter
but like
Soldier.
he takes his shield and just jumps out. It's like, what the? Seriously? And he survives. He jumps like 40
Well,
floors or whatever. And he
he
crashes
is
through the
Captain
window.
America. It's not like he's a John McClane or something.
Yeah, and that was real. I heard
What?
that was completely real. Jumped out of a window using his vibranium. Is it vibranium or adamantium shield?
Vibranium. Adamantium is
Okay.
part of the X-Men, so they can't use it.
Well, um, so I'm assuming this is going to be like the greatest day of your life
Yes.
on
Mm-hmm.
Friday. It's like your birthday. Are you going to go by yourself? You have friends.
Now on to the next topic.
Nah, I mean, honestly, I'd go. I mean, I might see it by myself this weekend. Actually, there's no way I'm going to see it. There's no possible way I'm going to get to
You would have to go
see that
to the
movie.
most remote town,
Yeah,
probably
no, you're absolutely
four
right.
hours away.
You'd have to go to like Mexico to watch this movie. That's the thing about sucks about living in LA. Like, you really, it's the one thing you can't really see movies like when they come out because they're just totally insane. Even like they're out like 2 weeks. It's still like packed on Friday, Saturday nights. I mean, the great thing I don't have a day job, so I can go during the day, but it's still.
You could just go Monday afternoon.
The thing is, a lot of people are unemployed in LA. Like, they're actors and all this shit. So it's like if you go to a Starbucks during the day in LA, it's packed on a Monday,
Mhm.
Tuesday. Like in New Hampshire, where I used to live, you go during the day, like nobody's there, but like people don't have normal jobs. Everyone's on these weird, night jobs or their own schedule. So it is what it is. Maybe I'll just ask you what happens in it, and
I'll
you just transcribe. You just narrate the
I'll
movie
just
in the
act
next
I'll just
podcast.
act it out for you on FaceTime.
So you know what's going to happen because you've read the movie. Have they deviated at all from
What?
the
No, I don't know what's
actual?
gonna happen. No one knows.
But you read the series though, right? Didn't you read the Infinity Gauntlet? I mean,
Yeah, but
how
that's
can they change the ending of that?
because this is a totally different movie.
So like they become friends with Thanos at the end, and they get like all like live in
Yeah,
like Florida.
they go to Applebee's, they hang out.
Let's be friends. uh,
Hey everybody, Thanos was good the whole time. Oh,
he takes off a mask, and it's Mrs. Doubtfire. I don't know. Yeah. So I'm curious. I'm really curious how. Well, I'm sure you're gonna love it, but I'm really curious how it's gonna play out because I thought it was gonna be like just like the comic book, which I did read the Infinity Wars, so I thought maybe
no,
it would
they
end the
just
same
used
way.
the name Infinity War.
Okay.
Uh, in
Because wasn't there a scene where like Silver Surfer almost like grabs the
right, right,
gauntlet off
right.
his
But
hands?
you have a whole bunch of other characters that are not in these movies, so they have to do it a different way.
And Captain Marvel is in this movie too, right?
Right. She wasn't in the original.
But Silver Surfer is not
Is
in this
not.
movie.
So let's
Okay.
just go down the list of all the people who's not in this movie.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's the Punisher. He's not in this movie. Uh, there's Cable.
Wait, Punisher was in the Infinity Wars?
I'm kidding.
I was like, what? Like, I don't remember this guy.
Yes, while
Uh,
everybody was fighting Thanos, he just walks up behind him and shoots him in the head.
yeah. Hmm. Well, that one fight scene. I mean, they got to keep that in there, right?
Well,
Remember, like they're all fighting on a planet, and like there's like Thanos is like just.
they that was basically the end of Infinity War.
Hmm. I'm
Did
curious.
you see Infinity War?
And nope, didn't see it. Didn't see it. I just watch YouTube clips and I piece it together. That's how I watch all movies on YouTube.
I kind of just piece it together. I make my own movies in my head.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much how I watch all entertainment through YouTube. All right, well, that's pretty much all I got for Infinity War.
Endgame.
Do you want to plug
It's
anything?
called Endgame.
Oh, that's all I got for the Endgame. You want to plug any? You want to plug
I,
your movie theater that you
I want
go
to plug
to?
my other podcast, which is
Oh, good.
it's called Shooting the Other Shetty.
It's hilarious. Oh wait,
Uh,
real
yeah,
quick, real quick. What's the next? Because usually they have like another comic book movie to look forward to, right? So have they started promoting any other movies after
yeah,
this?
Spider-Man. It's coming out this summer.
Okay. Okay, so that's like the next huge tentpole movie that they're going to push after this
Right.
movie. Who's the main villain in that?
Mysterio.
Right. Actually, I have seen this. Yeah, I saw the trailer to that. Actually, it looks pretty. I have been following, weirdly enough, the Spider-Man movies.
Wait, hold on.
And I'm
Do that
actually
again.
no, I haven't. I know where you're going. No, I have been following the
No, you
Spider-Man
haven't.
movies, but I didn't like the first few with Tobey Maguire. I didn't like those at all. And then I saw the last two or three, and I was like, this is way better than
I think you're
the Tobey Maguire movies.
confused now. The Tobey Maguire movies, those are three of those. Then they had Andrew Garfield, which is two of those. And then they had Tom Holland, which is one of those. And the last one was real good. The ones with Andrew Garfield were
Right,
horrible, where they had Jamie Foxx as Electro.
right. I'm comparing the Tobey Maguire to the Tom Holland
Yeah,
movies. I thought those were actually pretty entertaining.
right, right. The first Tobey Maguire, I mean, everyone considers the first two Spider-Mans as pretty good comic book movies.
Mm. Well, there you have it. That's the analysis, Endgame, and Spider-Man. There you go. If you like this podcast, please subscribe or don't
Because
even
you'll get a
do
new
anything.
podcast next year.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. I got nothing else.
All right.
So thanks, Shawn.
Good talk.